Good morning, student. Myself Bina Tripathi. Welcome to your online class. Students, today I am going to explain you in history chapter 1, the Indian subcontinent and history. See, students, you know that history divided in three parts. Which are they? That is ancient, medieval and modern period. So see, students, this year you are going to learn about the ancient history, and there are some points are there that we will discuss that in this chapter. So let's begin that. See that 1.1, it is geographical conditions and the course of history. 1.2, geographical features of India, and 1.3, the Indian subcontinent. So all these 3 points we will discuss in this chapter. 1.1, geographical conditions and history. In the 5th standard, we saw at some length that there is a close relationship between man and his environment. See, students, that means previous year, that means in the 5th standard, what we saw at some length that there is a close relationship between man and his environment, that means surrounding. We saw how the changes in the lifestyle of the early man and his technology were related to the changes in his surrounding. And also we see also about that changes in the lifestyle, how their lifestyles are there, the early man and his technology. So both are related to the changes in his surrounding. We also reviewed, students, reviewed means what? To think or talk about something again in order to make changes to it or to make a decision about it. That means we can say the reviewed. We also reviewed the history of human civilization from the Stone Age to the agricultural civilization that flourished on the bank of river. How it was flourished on the bank of the river. History is a coherent account of the significant past events in the progress of human culture. See, student, what is history? Or we can say the definition of history, that is, history is a coherent account of the significant past events in the progress of human culture. See, students, time, place, society and individual are the 4 main major pillars of history. So, what are the major pillars of the history? That is time, place, society and individuals. We cannot write history without them. So that means we need that time also, place also, society and individual. So these are the 4 major pillars of history, and without that we cannot write history without them. Of these 4 components, place is related to geography or geographical condition. And sister, in this sense, history and geography are inseparable. That means, students, history and geography are inseparable means what? Unable to separate it or indivisible. History is influenced by geographical conditions in many ways. In this way, history is influenced by geographical conditions in many ways. So, you should know about that. What is history? History is a coherent account of the significant past events in the progress of human culture. That means we must know about that past. Without past, we will not able to get knowledge about the history. And 4 major pillars, what are there, students? That's time, place, society and individual. And also you should know about that history and geography are inseparable means indivisible, unable to separated. And this way history is influenced by geographical conditions in many ways. Students, different types of houses are there. You can see in your textbook, and how the climates are there. That types of houses are built by the people depending on place. So let's see about that. Our diet, clothing, housing, occupations, in fact all human life in any region depends to a large extent on its geographical characteristics. That means geographical features. See, students, that means how the geographical features are there on depends on their diet, clothing, housing. They also build their house, and occupation also they can select that. All human life in any region depends to a large extent on its geographical characteristics means features. For example, the life of the people in hilly regions is more strenuous means difficult, tough, hard. Why? Because see students, hilly region, what happened that of the people of the plain, that means in hilly place there was not fertile land was there, and there is no, you can't grow any agriculture because there is no fertile lands are there. So that's why the life people, that means the life of the people in hilly regions is more strenuous, means very difficult than that of the people on the plain areas. Why? Because not much fertile land is available in the hilly regions, but in while in the plain it is available on a large scale. And see students, if we can compare that, in hilly regions we are not getting any fertile lands, but in the plain areas we can get the fertile lands. And plain areas we can also grow, that means grain and vegetables, very large scale. But in hilly regions there was very less. Scarce means what? Less. Grain and vegetables are scarce in the hilly areas. In comparisons, people on the plains get them in a sufficient measure. See students, hilly regions we are not getting any vegetables, any grain and all that, but in plain areas we can get sufficiently. Naturally, this has an impact on the diet of the people. So that was an impact on the diet of the people. In hilly regions, people depend more on hunting and gathering for their food. So they are not doing the agriculture, so they are depends on the hunting and gathering for their foods. So they can select their occupation based on that place. So if they are not doing the agriculture work, so what they are doing that, so they are making more and more on hunting and gathering for their foods. So their occupation is hunting. We also find other such difference in the lifestyles of the people of the hilly regions and those of the plain. And this way the difference are the students. In plain areas they are getting the sufficient vegetables and agriculture, fertile lands, but in hilly regions they are not getting all these things. So these are the differences are there, and according to that base their diets, clothing, housing, occupations all are there. So this way we can see that how the houses are there according to regions, the houses also built there. Okay, the climate, rainfall, agricultural produce, flora and fauna of the region where we live are the source of our livelihood. The lifestyles and culture of a region develop with their support. Human settlements have flourished wherever the means of living are plentiful. Say students, what is very important? Climate. What types of climates are there? Rainfall, less or more, or moderate. Agriculture producing, the agriculture place what are producing. Flora means what types of flowers are there. Fauna means animals are there of the region where we live are the source of our livelihood. And say students, the lifestyles and culture of a region develop with their support. And this way our lifestyles and culture total region of that place develop with their support. Human settlements have flourished wherever the means of living are plentiful. Students, plentiful means what? Abundant, yielding great quantities. So that is we can say the plentiful. Then only our human settlements will be flourish. Over a period of time, these settlements develop further into village and town. Afterwards, what happened that the human settlements will flourish. Afterwards, over a period of time, these settlements develop further into village and town. But sometimes reasons like the degradations of the environment, drought, invasion, etc. So what happened that where sometimes there is degradations of the environment or drought or invasions, all this lead to the scarcity of those means, and because of that people are forced to leave their settlements. So they are started to migrate from one place to another because they are not getting the proper sufficient food and all these things, and that's why they have to leave one place to another, make the migration. Villages and towns become deserted. We see many such instances in history. Thus we see that there is a very close relationship between history and geography. See students, environment, climate, all these are very very important. Rainfall, if climate will be not proper, if rainfall will be less, even if soil will be not fertile, So all these reasons are that people have to migrate from one place to another, and because of that, say student, which place people are living very large scale, that place climate is favorable, rainfall will be there, and people can grow agriculture production, and all these are very important. So, and if it will be not there, then what happen that they have to migrate from one place to another, and these are the reasons are there. Peoples are forced to leave their settlements, and see students, this way villages and towns become deserted, and thus we see that there is a very close relations between history and geography. 1.2 Geographical features of India. Our country India extends far and wide. See students, our country India extends far and wide. At its north place lie the Himalayas, that means north place Himalaya regions are there. To the east place the Bay of Bengal. To the west there was Arabian Sea, and to the south the Indian Ocean. So this way our India country extends far and wide, all this direction. Except for the island of Andaman Nicobar and Lakshadweep, the rest of the country is contiguous. You know students, contiguous means what? Is sharing a common border. Okay, we have to take into account this region henceforth referred to as ancient India. So say students, when we study the ancient history of India before 1947, today's Pakistan and Bangladesh were also a part of India. That was when we study the ancient history of India before 1947. So what we think that today's Pakistan and Bangladesh were also part of India. But say students, when we got independence 15 August 1947. After that, Pakistan was separated from India, and Pakistan became the one new country. So this way, there's one is India and one is Pakistan. It was separated. It was divided in two parts. Okay. So this way you should know about that. When we got independence on 15 August 1947. Okay. The following reasons are seen to be important when we look at the course of the Indian history. So all these reasons are there. First one, the Himalayas. Second one, the plains of Sindhu Ganga, Brahmaputra river. Third one, the Thar desert. Fourth one, the Deccan plateau. Fifth one, the coastal regions. And sixth one, the island in the sea. So all these other four regions are seen to be important when we look at the course of the Indian history. Students, Himalaya region, Himalaya mountains, the picture in your textbook. First point, Himalayas. The Hindu Kush and Himalaya range have created an impenetrable wall on the northern side of the Indian subcontinent. This wall has separated the Indian subcontinent from the desert of Central Asia. However, there is a land route through the Khyber and Bolan passes in the Hindu Kush mountain. This route was connected to an ancient trade route. Say students, that means the Hindu Kush and Himalaya range have created an impenetrable, means what students? Impossible to pass through or enter, we can say that. So that was created an impenetrable wall on the northern side of the Indian subcontinent. This wall has separated the Indian subcontinent from the desert of Central Asia. However, there is a land route. So there was a land route through the Khyber and Bolan passes in the Hindu Kush mountain. This route was connected to an Asian trade route. And see students, this route was connected to an Asian trade route. The trade route from China passed through Central Asia and reached Arabia. It is known as Silk Route or Silk Road. Why students? Because silk was the main commodity exported to the Western countries using this route. So that means the trade route from China passed through Central Asia. It was reached to Arabia, and that is known as the Silk Route or Silk Road. Why we can say it is Silk Road? Because silk was the main commodity which was exported to the Western countries using this road. That means which are Western countries are there, they can use this road for What purpose? For exporting their silk. Okay. The route through the passes was used by many foreign invaders to enter ancient India. And so this route was through the passes was used, and from this route many foreign invaders, outsider, they can enter ancient India. Many foreign travelers also came to India by this route, and these were so many foreign travelers, outsider travelers who are not belong to our India country. They are outsider because of the foreign. So many foreign travelers also came to India by this route. So see student, pictures of the cyber pass. Can you see that? So these are pictures of the cyber pass was there. Okay. Now second point, the plain of the Sindhu, Ganga, Brahmaputra. These regions consist of the basin of the three big rivers. So these are three big rivers are there: Sindhu, Ganga, and Brahmaputra, and also their tributaries. This region extends from Sindh Punjab in the west to the present day Bangladesh in the east. And see students, that means this region extends from Sindh Punjab in the west to the present day Bangladesh in the east. It was in this region that the earliest Indian civilization of Harappa and the later states of empires of ancient India emerged. So see the pictures are there, river Ganga. Can you see the picture of river Ganga? And see students, it was in this region that earliest India's civilization of Harappa and the later states and empires of Eastern India emerged. See the picture of the Thar Desert. Third point, the Thar Desert spread across Rajasthan, Haryana, and some parts of Gujarat. So see students, so this Thar Desert is spread across Rajasthan, Haryana, and some parts of Gujarat also. A part of the desert lies in today's Pakistan. So a part of the desert lies today's in Pakistan. The desert has the Satluj River to its north, the Aravalli mountain range to its east, the Rann of the Kutch to its south, and the Hindus, that is Sindhu River, to its west. So you should know about that students. The desert has the Satluj River, north place Satluj rivers are there, Aravalli mountain range to its east place, the Rann of the Kutch or to its south, and the Hindus, that is Sindh River, to its west. The Ghaggar River that originates in Himachal Pradesh reached the Thar Desert. It is known as the Hakra in Pakistan. As students, we can say that the Ghaggar River that originates in Himachal Pradesh reaches the Thar Desert. It is known as the Hakra in Pakistan. Its course in Rajasthan and Pakistan has now dried up. Many sites of the Harappan civilization are situated along the now dry course of the rivers. So say students, now what happened that now many sites of the Harappan civilization are situated along the now dry course of the rivers. So see the pictures of the Thar Desert. Point, the Deccan Plateau. The region between the east and the west coast of India taper off to the south. See students, that means the region between the east and the west coast of India tapers off to the south. This region has the Arabian Sea to its west, the Indian Ocean to its south, and the Bay of Bengal to its east. Okay, the region thus bound by the sea on three sides. So this way these regions are bound by the sea on all the three sides. That's why it is called a peninsula. A major part of the Indian peninsula is occupied by the Deccan Plateau. The mountain range of the Vindhya and Satpura are located to the north of the Deccan Plateau. And see students, the mountain range of the Vindhya and Satpura, they are located to the north of this Deccan Plateau. The Sahyadri mountain range are to its west, and because of that we can say they are also known as Western Ghat. To the west of the Sahyadri is the coastal region of Konkan and Malabar. The mountains on the eastern side of the Deccan Plateau are known as Eastern Ghat. And see students, that means the Sahyadri mountain range are to its west place. They are also known as the Western Ghat. To the west of the Sahyadri, it is coastal region of Konkan and Malbara. The mountains on the eastern side of the Deccan Plateau are known as the Eastern Ghat. That means which are the eastern side of the Deccan Plateau? We can say the Eastern Ghat. Deccan Plateau has fertile land where many post-Harappan agrarian culture flourished. And see students, Deccan Plateau has the fertile land, and because of that, where many post-Harappan agrarian means agriculture cultures flourished on that time. Deccan Plateau was a part of the Maurya empires, the largest in ancient India. See students, Deccan Plateau was the part of the Maurya empire, the largest in the ancient India. After the decline of the Maurya empire, too, several other kingdoms and smaller empires continue to flourish in this region. That means after the decline of the Maurya empire, too, there are several other kingdoms also there, smaller empires are continue to flourish, prosper in this region. Okay. Fifth point, the coastal region. From the time of the Harappan civilization, ancient India has trade relation with the western countries. This trade was carried on by sea. Therefore, India has developed contact and interactions with foreign cultures and people at the seaport. Later on, land routes came to be used for trade and transport, but the importance of sea routes did not diminish. See students, now we have to discuss about the coastal region. See students, from the time of the Harappan civilization, ancient India had a trade relations with the western countries, means trading, export and import to the western countries. This trade was carried on by the sea. Only the sea routes was there. On that time there was no road are there. That means no land route was there. They are making a trading with the help of the sea. And that's why we can say that this trade was carried on by sea. Therefore, India had developed contact with and interaction with foreign cultures and people at the seaport only. So see, that means see students, with the help of that they are making a trading with the help of the sea. So India had developed contact with interaction with foreign cultures and people at the seaport. Port means what? Port place means which place ships are arrive and departure. We can say the port. So this way, India had developed contact and interaction with foreign cultures and people at the seaport. Later on, see student, afterwards what happened that land routes came to be used for what purpose? For trade and transport, for export and import, and for transport purpose. But the importance of sea routes did not diminish or did not reduce. Still, there was the importance of sea routes was there. That means land routes was started, but then also sea routes was not diminished, and this way the importance of sea routes did not diminish. Okay. 6 point, the island in the sea. Andaman and Nicobar are the Indian island in the Bay of Bengal. And see students, now we have to learn about that the island in the sea, that means Andaman and Nicobar are the Indian island in the Bay of Bengal. Lakshadweep is a group of the Indian island in the Arabian Sea. And see students, Lakshadweep is a group of the Indian island in the Arabian Sea. The location of this island may have been important in ancient sea trade. The manuscripts Periplus of the Erythraean Sea or Handbook of the Red Sea makes a mention of Indian islands. It has been written by an unknown Greek sailor. And see students, you know that the location of this island may have been important in ancient sea trade. The manuscript means what? Which are the handwritten books are there? We can say which are written by the hand. We can say the manuscripts. The manuscripts Periplus of the Erythraean Sea or Handbook of the Red Sea makes a mention of the Indian island. On that books we can mention that of Indian island. It has been written by an unknown Greek sailor. So see students, it was written by an unknown Greek sailor. Students, India physical map, it is given that. See the index. With the help of the index you come to know about the which place what is shown in your map. Different sign and symbol are shown here. See that pass, river, blue color, and for mountains. See that orange color for desert. See the international boundaries and brown color shown for the plateau. See in your map Himalaya mountains and see the Hindu Kush mountain. Can you see that? At the north place. See that Thar desert again is shown in our textbook in the map. That is orange color. And see that Deccan Plateau. And also it is written that see that Eastern Ghats, and again see that Sahyadri Mountains, Western Ghat. Okay. So this way, with the help of this sign and symbol, we come to know about that. And see students, blue color shown for the river. Can you see that? And see that Cyber Pass. So, and also see the Arabian Sea. So that, and also you can see that Bay of Bengal and the Andaman and Nicobar Island. And with the help of this index, we come to know about which place it is shown in your textbook. Okay. So first we see that index, and afterwards you can realize that, so that you also self-study, you can learn this. Okay. 1.3, the Indian subcontinent. The cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro are in today's Pakistan. See students, the cities of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro are in today's Pakistan country. Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and India together form the region known as South Asia. So see students, suppose question will come that which regions, that means come together form the region known as South Asia. So your answer will be there: Afghanistan, Pakistan, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka and India together form the region known as South Asia. Okay. Considering the expanse and significance of India in this region, it is also known as the Indian subcontinent. And say student, because of the expanse and importance, significance of India in this region, we can also say that it is also known as the Indian subcontinent. The Harappan civilization had spread mainly in the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent, and this way the Harappan civilization was spread mainly which place? The northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent. China and Myanmar, our neighboring countries, are not a part of South Asia or the Indian subcontinent. See students, you know that China and Myanmar, they are our neighboring countries. They are not a part of South Asia or the Indian subcontinent. However, they had cultural and trade relations with ancient India. Since ancient times, we have the export and import business, and this way they had a cultural and trade relation with ancient India. They have an important place in the study of ancient Indian history, and this way students, they have an important place in the study of ancient Indian history. Exercise question number 1, answer the following in one sentence. Question number 2, answer the following question in short. And question number 5, observe the physical map of India and answer the question based on it. See students, all these are the assignment I am giving to you as your homework. You have to do this in your notebook and read this lesson twice, 2 times properly. I hope that you understood this lesson. Thank you.